out of this? The longest shutdown in government history came to an end overnight. After 43 days, President Trump signed a bill that will fund the government, but only through the end of January. The bill does extend full-year funding for some parts of the government, including the Department of Agriculture and Veterans Affairs. It also secures SNAP benefits and reverses federal worker layoffs caused by the shutdown. While signing the bill, President Trump once again pushed senators to get rid of the filibuster to keep another shutdown from happening.
If we had the filibuster terminated, this would never happen again. And don't forget, we have another date coming up in the not-too-distant future. We can never let this happen again.
The bill does not include the Democrats' demands to extend health care subsidies. Republicans say they will vote on the issue next month with no guarantee that it will pass.
With more on the government shutdown, let's bring in Doug Lazaire, live for us in Washington. Doug, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I guess the big question is, when will things get back up and running, right? When exactly do we expect federal workers to get paid? How long will the ripple effects last?
Yeah, it's going to take a little while. We are getting a better read on this, though, this morning. We just heard, for instance, that the Smithsonian, for what it's worth, is going to be reopening its museums on Friday and then Monday. So they're kind of doing it in two different stages. As for SNAP benefits, that money should be getting out pretty quickly. You look at federal employees, and as far as them getting paid, we're told when it comes to control, the folks in the control tower, air traffic controllers, they should be seeing some paychecks within 48 hours. And we understand that there are no air traffic controller shortages today. So this is an indication that air travel may be getting back on its feet here pretty quickly, although the FAA is going to keep those flight restrictions that reduce the number of flights in the nation's airspace. They're going to keep those in place, at least for the time being, while they kind of work out all the kinks in the system.
You know, part of this agreement to reopen the government hinged on a promise that Republicans will vote on the health care subsidies extension that was a real sticking point, as you know, with Democrats. How much of an uphill battle will that be now moving forward?
It's going to be a slog for Democrats. What they got out of this was just a promise for a vote in the Senate. There's every indication that Republicans are going to follow through on this, but it's not a guaranteed outcome. So this comes to a vote in the Senate. Even if it passes, there's no guarantee that the House will take it up. But having said that, you know, health care is clearly becoming a potent issue, especially when it comes to these Obamacare premiums. There are a lot of folks in Republican states and Republican districts that are facing rising premiums. It's a question of how you deal with this, because the Affordable Care Act, it has quickly lost its affordability. So there's a question of whether you subsidize it or just try to go in there and fix it. And that's going to be at the heart of this next debate.
And I suppose in some ways, it wasn't a complete loss for Democrats, because they can really make this an issue, and they made it the focus of this shutdown for them. They could make this an issue even in the upcoming midterm elections and then beyond that. Let's quickly pivot here to the Jeffrey Epstein emails, Doug. There was more mentions of this yesterday, and of course, the president, the administration really criticized this, said the timing, they criticized the timing of this.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're probably not wrong that Democrats wanted to release these on the same day that all this was coming to a head. Having said that, documents are documents, and there were a lot of them released yesterday, including some emails from Epstein that specifically mentioned Donald Trump, one of them indicating that he, I believe the quote was, knew about the girls. Now, there's no further context on that. We don't know exactly what that means. We know that President Trump obviously was a friend of Epstein's, at one point cut him off and tried to kick him out of Mar-a-Lago in Florida. So the context is everything here, and that's not entirely clear, but there are more documents yet to come. Democrats are really pushing for the release of these documents.
All right, Doug Lazaire live for us in Washington. We appreciate it, Doug. Thank you.